Hi, what's going on everyone? So I just recently released an ebook, and the name of the ebook is called Simplified Paystack Integration Using PHP and cURL. And as the name sounds, you probably must have known that this is just how to integrate Paystack using PHP and cURL. If you don't know what cURL is just the full meaning is just client URL, and it is one of the preferred ways to connect to APIs online. So I'm going to combine that with PHP to teach you how to peacefully and then perfectly connect to Paystack's API in order to make a good integration. And I actually visited quite all of the Paystack endpoints, starting from how to create a customer down to making transactions, even sub accounts and subscriptions. And you don't have to bother yourself. I'm going to show you the table of contents so that you know what you are going to actually get. So I visited all of the endpoints that one can actually possibly get from a Paystack. Okay. So the link to getting this ebook is going to be put in the description box below, and you should stick around because I'm going to share with you how to actually use the ebook at the end of this before the end of the presentation actually. But the first thing that I want to share with you now is to show you the table of contents of this ebook so you know what you are going to get. So before we see the table of contents, this is the email. This is my email in case you ever have any issues with how to run this how to make use of this ebook. You can connect with me using this email address. And then down here where we say the attention, I'm just trying to highlight some certain things that you must put in place so that your workflow will be easy. The integration, you must be sure that you are connected to online. You don't do the integration of Paystack offline. Okay, you must be connected because the Paystack's API is actually residing online, so you must have a way to connect to it. Your system must be connected to the internet. You can be writing your scripts offline, and then your system must have internet enabled before you can test the application. Okay. Alright, then the next one is that you should remember there is actually one problem that we normally have with Paystack integration if we are using cURL, and that is they normally request that you must have HTTPS enabled before you can test the application. They normally do not allow you to test the application offline. Okay, so that means you must have, it's either you install HTTPS on your local drive or you should upload it to online before you make use of it. But I found how to do it without even installing SSL certificate or whatever it is called, whether it is called HTTPS or whatever. You can just be offline, and if you add this particular line of code, you will be able to test your application offline without being connected to the HTTPS. Alright, so let's move on, and I will demonstrate how to do that at the end of this video. So this is actually the table of content to the ebook. Chapter 1 was talking about how to create a customer. You know, in Paystack, you must have to create a customer before you can actually make payment. So I taught how to create a customer by visiting the customer endpoint. And after that, you see that we actually dealt with everything that one can do with creating a customer, such as what is it called? After we create a customer, I also taught how to add metadata while creating a customer, and this metadata are just additional information that you can add to your Paystack customer creation endpoint. Things like the address, because by default Paystack just has a first name, last name, and phone number and email. If you want to create a customer within Paystack, these are the 4 things that one can use: email, first name, last name, and then phone number. But if you want to have additional field like address or someone's complexion, you have to put that in within this place that they say the metadata, and I showed how to do that within the book. And the next thing there is actually how to list the customers. After you have created customers and you ever want to print all the customers out to see them within your application, you can use this part, that's a list customers. And after that, You can also fetch a single customer if you want. So this first one is talking about listing the customers, and this one is talking about listing just a single customer. After that, if the next one is white or black listing a customer, which is talking about if a customer is actually performing activities that you do not actually like within your application, you can block the person or unblock the person anytime you like. Then after that, if you create a customer, the next thing to do is to just move on to what we call the chapter 2, which talks about transactions. You can just create customers and then leave them within your page just like that. They have to make payment, they have to make purchases. So the endpoint transactions is actually what helps to collect those payments from those customers that you have just created. Okay. And as you can see, we went through an example on how to initialize transaction, and we also went ahead to learn how to redirect your website users after successful payments. So after the transaction has gone through, you can redirect them to whatever page that you like, things like redirecting them to the verify endpoint so that you can verify the authenticity of their payments. After that, you also dealt with how to list transactions. That's all the transactions within your Paystack dashboard. You can list them within your website. After that, we also taught how to list a single transaction if you want. And then we dealt with charge authorization. After that, we dealt with view transaction timeline, and even transaction totals, request reauthorization, export transactions, and check authorization. So we did quite a lot of things within this endpoint called initialization transaction or init transaction. So we did quite a lot of things within this endpoint, which is transactions. After that, we moved on to Subaccount, and Subaccount is actually a huge one. A Subaccount is actually trying to let us allow other people or other businesses to earn within our website. That is, if you want to ever create a community of network or networkers where people will come and make some money from your website, this is actually the place where you can do it by creating sub-accounts. You can actually do that within that place. After we taught how to do that, we went ahead and taught how to list sub-account. You can fetch sub-account. You can use a multi-split to allow as an infinite number of customers to earn from your website. Okay, because the previous thing that Paystack had was there was a limit to the number of a sub account you could create, but with the emergence of a multi-split payment, you can now accept unlimited sub accounts. Okay, after that, we went on to creating a transaction split and initializing a transaction with a split code. So after that, we went on to work on plans. So anytime we talk about plans, I know that quite a lot of you guys already understand what that means. When we talk about plans, that means we are now heading towards creating subscriptions within our web page. And before we can create subscription, we must have a plan in place before we can create subscription. So we treated how to create a plan, and then after that, how to create a plan on Paystack. We went on to create a plan from Paystack dashboard. And then the next one was how to create a Paystack plan by scripting language using cURL and PHP. This is actually cURL. There should be an L here. I probably will correct that before you get the book. And the next thing was list the plans. We learned how to list plans on Paystack. After which we moved on to fetch a single plan using the plan code. So after you create the plan code, that's the only time you should move on to creating subscriptions. So in chapter 5, we talked about creating subscriptions, and here we did everything about subscriptions. Alright, and after subscription, we moved on to creating a page, and a page is actually a huge one. It's actually very popular within Paystack. We taught how to create a page, and we dealt with everything within that page, list the page, and even how to check for slug availability. And after that, we moved on to invoices, on how to create invoices, and we dealt with everything within that place. Alright, Alright, so the next thing that I want to do right now is to let us experiment with one of these things that we have actually talked about. Maybe we should learn how to create Paystack page. Let's go to page 129 to make use of the code that is there, so we can learn how to, we can demonstrate how this ebook can be used. Alright, so on chapter 6, which is what we want to experiment with right now, the only thing I want you to put in mind now are just quite a few things. The first thing I want you to know is this endpoint. This is actually the actual endpoint that you will have to connect to if you want to create anything within Paystack's page. Okay, and the required field right there is called a name, which is the name of the page that you want to create. So you have to give it a name. And after that, the other parameters that they are not required, but you may need them, are things like a description, talking about describing what the page is all about. And after that, we have an amount, which is the amount of money that you would like people to pay you within that particular page. And after that, we have a slug. Slug is actually the unique URL that people will have to visit to be able to access the page. An example is something of this nature, the one you are seeing here, paystack.com/pay/holy-donation-tutor. And actually, I will show you how to create this. Then the next one is a redirect URL. The redirect URL is actually talking about then the redirect URL is actually the page that your payers will land after they successfully make payments on your page. So this is just the URL that they will land to. And after that, we have a custom field. Custom field are just used for additional information that you would like to include in the page. So that's it. So now let me just show you the code. This is the code. This is the PHP code, and then the COI. And just without wasting much time, I'm going to copy this code and put it in a file, and I'll run the code so that you guys can see how to make use of it. But before I do that, let me just explain a couple of things. Just like I've shown you before, I told you that the page, the endpoint to creating a page within Paystack is called this https://api.paystack.co/page. And I have actually collected that and saved it in a variable, which I'm going to make use of it within my COI. And after that, in this place, we are actually talking about creating the page data, which we are going to need the name field, which is a compulsory for what you want to do. After that, we have a description, which talks about the description of the page that we have just created. In this case, we have a give us never lack. And we move on to slug. Slug is actually the unique address. I've actually explained that. And amount is the amount of cash, or the amount of money that you want people to pay you on the website. And after that, I now went ahead and generate what you can see here. I'm actually trying to connect to all these things are actually explained within the book, so you can find them once you get the book. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm just trying to generate a URL encoded a string for the associative array up there, which is this particular one, this page data. As you can see, I passed that in here. Okay, and after that, I went ahead and create a connection to COI, which is what you are seeing here. Okay, so I saved it in a variable. After that, I now went ahead and turned off the mandatory SSL checker, which if you do not do this and you try to run the code according to what we have on Paystack documentation, the code will never run unless you have HTTPS enabled. But because we don't have HTTPS enabled on our local drive, we can turn that off. You can turn that off with this line of code. Okay, and after that, we went ahead to set the URL, and we enabled the data to be sent in a post method, and we collect the posted data, and after that we set the headers from the endpoint, which in this case we set our authorization bearer, which is actually your Paystack test secret key. If you are testing, if you are on a live mode, you need to enter your live secret key here, but I'm going to just go ahead and enter my own the test secret key in this place. And after that we set the catch to no catch, and finally what we did here was we decided to set the URL to execute the content and then return the content instead of just echoing them out. That's what this line is doing. And we went ahead to execute the post. Everything that we got from the call, we are executing it right, and we are saving it inside of a variable called results. After that, we are using this function to check for errors. If there are any errors while the call is executing, we save it within this error variable, and we can check for the error right here. After which we have in this place right now, we are converting whatever we are getting into a JSON decoded data so that we can access the whatever value that we're getting from the transaction. We are setting it to objects so we can access all of them using objects. Alright, so let me just go ahead, and then after you do that, this will be the output. The output is going to look like this, output of the code. But I'm going to share with you how to actually redirect instead of just displaying this. But I'll show you how to display this first and then show you how to redirect. So let's just open our code editor and do something right now. Alright, so the first thing that I want us to do right now is to create a folder for what you want to do. So within this place, I'm going to just create a new folder right now, and I'll call the folder so let us just call this pay page, and we can go ahead and open this pay page within our editor. So I'm going to just open my own with VS Code right now. So if you got your own open, then first thing to do is to just create a page inside of it. I'm going to just create a page called index.php, of course, and open that up. And then I'll go ahead and copy the code and paste it here. So I'm going to just copy the code and paste here right now. Alright, so here is the code. So this is the code. I'm going to take away this side, take away the slug, and then go ahead and save it. And what we're going to do right now is to go ahead and change this slug right here. Let me say that the slug that we want to visit right now will be only, let's just change this to something like let's call this maybe COVID-19 dash palliatives. Let's just leave it like that, COVID-19 palliatives. And if we scroll right down, I'm going to show you something now. You see this place where we have this redirect. What I'm trying to do right here is to just redirect to the page where you have to make this payment, which was not in the book that I just showed you. So, but it is good that I show you that right now. You can alternatively comment this out if you want to just see the output or the data that is just returning. So the first thing we're going to do right now, let me just save this way and then run this code, and you're going to notice that a lot of things will be returned to us. So let's go to our browser right now and be sure that you are connected to the internet. Your internet must be enabled, and you must have your XAMPP turned on if you want to do this. This is PHP. Alright, so let's go to our browser right now, and to access that file we can just say localhost /page, and we'll go go ahead and visit that file. And as you can see, it has actually gone through and then printed out an array of what you have just created. If you watch, you see that the message says that page created, and the name is what we actually called it, holy donation. Description, the give us never lag, and the amount is 200 naira. And as you can see, this is this log which is called COVID-19 palliatives. This is actually the page that you can visit, and you'll be able to access this page. And if you want to actually test that out, let me just copy that and go to the another tab. And if you type paystack.com/pay/ then this COVID-19 palliatives, which we just called it, you should be able to access that page within this place. So let's just visit that page right now and see. And as you can see, the page was actually loaded, and this red line is actually talking about the fact that I'm on a test mode. So if I change to live mode, this warning should go away. So you probably should have the same warning in your own website. So, but the most important thing now is that you see that has generated that page for us. See, holy donation, and we have the name, which is the description, which is give us never lag, and then the field, enter the first name, last name, email, and then the amount is actually pre-filled because we set it within the application. Alright, so we're going to try this once more. We are going to go ahead and change this and the name and then the description. Then we'll go ahead and maybe also change the amount and see how we can automatically redirect to this page without having to come and type it like we typed it just now. Okay, so let's dive in and see how we can achieve that. Let's go back to our code right now and see how we can do that. So let's go ahead and let's scroll up, and you should remember that what you should be using here is your own test secret key, not my own. You should use your own, not my own. So let's scroll up, and for the price, let us go ahead and change the price to something like, let's say 4,000 naira. Let's say 4,000. And if you want people to pay you 4,000 naira, the way that Paystack charges is that they take away 2 zeros from whatever you want to charge. Let us assume that you want to charge 4,000 naira. Don't just type 4,000 naira like this. They'll end up taking away 2 zeros and then they'll charge 14 naira. So because we want it to be 4,000 naira, what we're going to do is to add additional 2 zeros here. So in that case, they'll take away these 2 zeros and then they will charge 4,000 naira. Then the next thing is this log. So what do we want to do with this log now? Maybe we should change this log to something like let's call this Adams dust what? Let's say Adams Lakey, something of this nature. And we should probably change this place that says a description to something else. Let's call this let's just say something like show some love. And then the next thing that we can do right now is to go ahead and change the name. So let's say something like love to the world. Let's save that and we should run the application again. So, and before we go ahead and test that, let us scroll down and let's go ahead and save the page right now. If we save this page and we'll go back to our application, our browser, and we should access that page again. So if I access this page again, I probably will get a redirect to the payment page. So let's keep our fingers crossed. And as you can see, that went just fine. Look at it, love to the world, show some love, and then this is 4,000 naira, just like I've actually done. So this is how to use the ebook. All right, this is how to use the ebook. As you can see, that is what it is, and this is how I redirected automatically to that web page. So you have to capture how to do that right now. And always don't forget, don't use my own test key. Always use your own. So that's it. I want you to take a look at the code again. As you can see, show some love and love to the world, show some love, Adams Lakey, look at it from the URL. So that's it. And if you actually need the book, the address, if you actually need the book right now, the link to getting the book is in the description box. You can go ahead and get that. And if you have any questions about it, you can just go ahead and comment on this video. So I'll see you in the next couple of days. I will maybe do a free video based on this platform again. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. All right. Respect. See you in the next one.